and anxiety, nothing good is gonna come out of it.
You'll be so needy and you push that person.
You will come off as needy.
And needy men are not attractive. I'm sorry.
Yes. Now, there's a reason why she was running in the first place, right? And there's a good chance that has to do with this. There's a good chance. It's not 100%. There's a good chance that it has to do with your clingy, needy, or anything like that, right? But let's assume that it's not, right? If she said you didn't spend enough quality time, if this was the reason that really crumbled your marriage and you're in a place where, then it's okay to say I miss you, because it's the flip side of it.
Right.
Okay. I wouldn't overdo it still, because she still deemed your marriage enough for her to ask for a separation. I wouldn't make her feel like I couldn't live without her, because she wouldn't want you if you act that way. Nobody wants somebody that nobody wants. Nobody wants somebody that doesn't have options.
Sure.
Separation. We're talking about separation. Separation is a state where a lot of people have decided that, this marriage is not working. Let's give ourselves some space. For a lot of people, that's the way out. For a lot of people, they actually do rebuild things back up. Okay, this is an example of somebody who looks like they're looking forward to building things back up. So they're asking, is texting a sign of missing each other? Okay, so we're separated, but we're texting.
How often do we text? It depends.
Let's assume it's frequent, because before this person is asking.
Okay. If it's
Let's assume both. Let's answer one for each. It's frequent or is a one-off?
If it's a one-off, I would live in the moment and not assume that they are missing me. If it's a one-off.
Yeah.
Because, you can't just... One-off is not good enough. But if it's frequent, I would at least assume that we have a good friendship going on.
Okay.
And I'll just...
Which is important in separation.
And I will just enjoy the moment. Okay? I would not have high expectations of that. Because what if it's not? Then I'll be crushed again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So if it's it's a very broad question. It just depends,
Yeah, it depends.
My main concern here is that why are you
looking for that sign?
It's natural that you're doing that, but let me put you to it that you probably should not be
waiting for it.
The idea that you're waiting and you're looking out for signs that because when you say miss each other, what you really mean to say is that does this person miss you? Right? We're going to assume that you miss them.
Right.
Right. So let's just assume that you miss your spouse, but you want to know if they miss you just as much. That's the real question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because you have your feelings are,
right.
You don't want to be hurt.
Because let's assume you don't miss them. You're not asking this question.
You won't have time.
You could care less.
Yeah.
Right. So that makes it one-sided, at least from what we know. Now, could they miss you? Because that would be ideal, right? They miss you, boom, boom, boom. We should get back together, right? It's possible, okay? But it depends, for me, it depends on if you're a man or a woman too, okay? And the social construct, society we live in today, makes it different. It's not my fault. I didn't write the rules, but it's different from a man to a woman. One of the things that we used to argue with a lot when we do argument about certain things in the past, she'd be like, did you do that? Like, but I said it's different. She never will admit to it's different from a man to a woman. But we're good. You know what I mean?
Because gender and all that.
Right. Like, oh, did you call my mom yesterday? Did you call my mom too? It's different. Yeah. And it is different. And there's a lot of things that are different like that. I didn't create the rule. The society created the rules. It's a rule that we have to live by. And if you want to ignore those rules, it can create suffering for even you yourself. I understand why you want to ignore those rules. I understand that. What are this nonsense rules and all this? I get it. Me too. There's a lot of, because I have my own. I pick my own when I do that too, right? But the truth is that the society, the social construct are what they are, and if we play outside of it, it can cause suffering for us because we're interacting with other people. That's why they call it social. And if other people are going to judge you with it, then you should be aware of it. You know. So now missing each other. So if it's a man or a woman, it's different. Okay. If you're a man and you're asking if she's missing you right now, you definitely want to be a lot more patient than that. There's nothing wrong with you missing your girl, and you want her back to you. Okay. Now, what I want you to be aware of is how you show up.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that showing up in your vibe? Are you pounding the text? And because now when you start to feel like she's not texting you enough, or yesterday you felt like she texted 3 times, but today she's gone two straight days and she hasn't texted you again, that's gonna give you anxiety. And when you're operating out of fear and anxiety, nothing good is gonna come out of it.
You'll be so needy and you push that person.
You will come off as needy.
And needy men are not attractive. I'm sorry.
Yes. Now, there's a reason why she was running in the first place, right? And there's a good chance that has to do with this. There's a good chance. It's not 100%. There's a good chance that it has to do with your clingy, needy, or anything like that, right? But let's assume that it's not, right? If she said you didn't spend enough quality time, if this was the reason that really crumbled your marriage and you're in a place where, then it's okay to say I miss you, because it's the flip side of it.
Right.
Okay. I wouldn't overdo it still, because she still deemed your marriage enough for her to ask for a separation. I wouldn't make her feel like I couldn't live without her, because she wouldn't want you if you act that way. Nobody wants somebody that nobody wants. Nobody wants somebody that doesn't have options.
Sure.
Okay. These are games. Games doesn't mean it's a joke. It's a game you have to learn how to play. So we're playing games in the marriage? Yes.
You gotta play the cards.
When attraction goes all the way that low, yes, you have to play games. Okay? And that, when I say play games, I don't mean it's a joke. It's not a joke. And that's the more reason why you have to learn these things. What I'm talking about is social intelligence, emotional intelligence. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? And that's just how it works. Now, with that being said, if it's a situation where there's the opposite of quality, like you were clingy and you had nothing going on for you, and you start to pressurize her, and eventually she said, I don't think I'm feeling this marriage anymore, and she said she wants out, right? You absolutely must play this game and excuse her and say, let me know when you change your mind, and you move on. So is it okay for me to have sex? Do what you gotta do. Is it okay for me to have sex with other people and date other people? Do what you gotta do, especially if it's after 3 months. Because again, if you do the opposite of it, it's gonna show in your behavior. You're gonna come off as needy. She doesn't want you anyway. Okay? Sure. Does that decrease the chance that you're still gonna come back together? No, it doesn't. What increases the chance that you're gonna come back together is when she's taking the time to process, and she'll go test out the streets. The streets is going to chase her back into the house. And if you're still available, then you can decide to come back together. Right. But the key word phrase there is if you're still available. By the way, whatever you've gone through in your marriage will create some trauma. So you make sure you go through the proper healing. Sleeping with other people is not going to heal you. It won't necessarily make you feel better, whole either. Okay, because your marriage is your marriage for a reason. It's sacred. It's something you value, and things like that. So there may be a lot more in your story, that we need to unpack there. But I wouldn't put too much focus on if you miss each other or not. If you miss your wife and that aligns with the fact that she was complaining that you didn't give her quality time, then tell her you miss her and leave it alone. Okay? And I wouldn't overdo that. If it's the opposite of that, I would definitely not be worrying about if she misses me or not. I will wait indefinitely for life until she tells me that she misses me. Okay? And trust me, she misses you. Okay? If that was something that people can look into the past with rose gold color lens, right? If you have good times in the past, she will miss you. But I will stop worrying about that altogether and focus all that energy back on yourself. Anything you wanted to add?
Yeah.
No?